Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to represent KwaZulu-Natal at the National Lilizela Tourism Awards for 2019. My name is Tim Brown. I've been in the industry as a tour guide and nature guide for the approximately 15 years. Being a tour guide is a massive responsibility. For me, being a tour guide is all about growing our tourism within South Africa. It's all about educating our customers, which come from all over the world, for an amazing experience. And for me, a tour is not just a tour. It is creating an experience for our valued customers. I believe through educating our clientele, our customers, that we can drive tourism in South Africa and drive them back by giving them an amazing experience and allowing them to have the opportunity to then go back home and say to their friends and family, this is what they did, this is what they saw, this is who they went with, and they'll start to bring people back for us. For me, educating our customers is absolutely crucial. If we want to get people back into South Africa and we want to get some assistance without having to go through the government in order to get people to assist with our rural communities and uplifting them and creating programs where we can uplift the communities, we need to drive tourism. We need to push people to reach deep into their pockets and to visit South Africa and give back through visiting these cultural villages, our wonderful game reserves, the townships, the cities, all of those different areas. We have to give back. For me, guiding is also about the five senses: the sense of hearing, the sense of sight, the sense of taste, the sense of smell, and the sense of touch or feel. Examples on the hearing sense: basically, one of the things that I love to do when I'm out in the bush on safari, I just turn off the engine and we just listen. And we listen to the birds, we listen to the animal sounds, we listen to the crickets, we listen to just every little sound which is out there. And that creates a magnificent experience for guests without having to actually use their eyes, but rather that sense of hearing. Of course, sight is a massively important one when you're out in nature. There's so many different things that you can show the guests. Obviously, the big five: the buffalo, the rhino, the elephant, the lion, the leopard. But there's also other things like birds, things like trees, and of course at night time we can do a bit of stargazing as well. So visual sense is very, very important as well with our nature tours. The sense of taste is obviously another important one. We can look at things like dining in the restaurant in the evening with some traditional African foods, particularly things like pap, boerewors, experiencing that braai. Of course, there are other things that we can do on the taste front of things. When we're out on safari itself, out in nature, we can look at berries and get our clients to taste them. We can get them to taste the leaves of the buffalo thorns, which have very little amounts of tannins in them that can actually be used as a salad. There's so much that we can do on that front. Touch and feel is another very important one. One of the things that we do is we do take our guests to interactive educational cheetah programs whereby they can touch endangered species of cat, not only cheetahs. So that's an amazing experience for them to be able to feel the cat and touch and experience what it's like to be so close to these amazing creatures. The sense of smell is another incredibly special sense that we can use very easily with our guests in the bush. There are massive amounts of aromatic plants out there. Plants like aniseed, plants like fever tea, which has a mint smell, wild sage, impepo, all of these different herbs which have amazing smells. And all of these can be used to create an amazing experience for our customers. Guys, if you look here at this male white rhino, you'll see he's a territorial male. That pile of dung there that he's scratching his feet into, he sprayed some urine. He went to the toilet there. He was breaking it up with his back feet, just getting his scent into his feet and spraying urine to add down a bit more scent. Now you'll see he's smelling the ground for any other potential rhino that could come into his territory, and then he'll also scent mark on that particular spot. These two rhinos here, a mother and a sub-adult, the mother is just rolling around in the mud wallow. Very important thing to do. This helps to cool down the overall body temperature, to remove ticks and external parasites, because as the mud dries on the body, the ticks actually need to breathe oxygen, and therefore the clay-based soil which is covering them means they cannot breathe. So they release themselves off the body, they get stuck in the drying mud, and the animal will go rub up against a tree in order to get those ticks. Okay guys, what we going to witness here is incredibly rare behavior. You'll see this female rhino with a young calf with her. These are white rhino with a square, and they only eat grass. Approximately 150 kilograms of plants or grass every single day. The little one at this stage is just under a year of age and will only start eating a little bit of grass now. Under normal circumstances, with white rhino, the calf will actually walk ahead of the mother, and the mother will stay at the back purely because it's nice open grassland area and it's clear for the baby to see where to go. But of course we have to always remember that animals don't read the books that we write about them. Hence anything, and I mean anything, can take place in the bush. So don't just take the books as fact. So at this particular point we'll see that there is a lion hiding behind the bush shortly. And this kind of behavior that we're going to witness, as I've said, is incredibly rare behavior. Under normal circumstances, lions will not hunt rhino purely because the risks are incredibly high. The mother has a massively long horn, is incredibly dangerous, and if a lion gets injured, that lion is probably going to die. The bull elephant actually reaching up and grabbing branches off a marula tree. It is quite common when the marula tree does fruit in spring, summertime, that elephants will enjoy consuming the fruit. One thing that is a big misconception, and nature guides do tend to say this unfortunately quite a lot, is that as the marula fruits do fall to the ground and then ripen on the ground and turn yellow, there is a slight bit of fermentation. But we have to remember that elephants are anything from 4,000 to 6,000 kilograms, and they have an incredibly poor digestive system. So if, for example, one of those marula fruits goes through the system, doesn't hit one of the teeth in the mouth on the way through, it'll come out as a whole fruit at the back end. And then even warthogs would dig through the elephant dung to eat those fruits. The point really being that elephants cannot get drunk from feeding on marula fruit. These two male giraffe are doing what we call necking. Necking is a dominance display where two males will stand alongside one another and they will swing the horns on top of the head into each other's side of the body. And the overall reason really is just to be the most dominant of the males, so that when it comes to the mating, potential mating opportunities, that the most dominant one will have the best chance to mate with females. It can be heard from about 100 meters away, the clonking of bone upon bone, because the horns are made of bone, and it can hurt. You will also see in this video here the one male approaching from behind the other male and just gently placing his front leg between the other one's back legs. Now the reason for this is also a part of being dominant. It's certainly not a sign of anything else. It does happen that male giraffe will mount another male, but this is purely a dominance display. This kind of behavior which you see between these buffalo and the lions is a very interesting behavior. It's not that rare, but it is something that we don't always see because it more or less happens at night time rather than during the day. But it can happen, and it just shows this change of dominance where lions are aware that if they do get injured or hurt, they could actually die. So they realize that, they know that the buffalo are big and dangerous, so what they need to do is they need to be careful and cautious, particularly in the daytime, because we have to remember lions are nocturnal, so they see in black and white, they don't see in color. So that is why they have actually more rods in their eyes, which is for nighttime vision, as opposed to cones, which is for color vision. Now the rods enable them to see much better at night, and of course a daytime animal like a buffalo doesn't have the ability to see well at night. So their best hunting opportunity, the lion's best hunting opportunity, is at night time. So in this particular video, and during the course of the day, the early morning, this back and forth is also due to the fact that the lions are not wanting to take a massive risk. They could also be setting themselves up for the evening, where they're trying to pick out an individual that's a bit weaker than the others, so that they have a target for the night time.